Monday Night Raw was in Los Angeles, California, and it was the third consecutive night that WWE was in the Staples Center. For this edition of Raw, it's the show after Survivor Series, but I think the ratings are going to be bad. Even though usually whenever they come off a big one of the bigger pay-per-views, the rating on Raw is usually good. But tonight's Raw is going up against this monstrous big Monday Night Football game with the Rams and the Chiefs. I think it's going to get destroyed because that football game was crazy, and I think Raw is just going to get fucking slaughtered because how crazy that game was. So, and to explain why I think Raw will lose really badly in the ratings is they decided to start the show off with Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin comes out, and it's like, I have go-away heat with this guy. Stephanie comes out, and then Braun Strowman comes out. So Stephanie was, it's like Stephanie's turning babyface. I'm not sure. What she does is she announces it's Braun Strowman and Baron Corbin at TLC in a TLC match, and then Stephanie says if Braun beats Baron Corbin, he's going to get a Universal title match with Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble, which confirms my theory that Braun Strowman's not winning the title at WrestleMania. He's not going to beat Brock Lesnar. It's going to be Drew McIntyre. This is what I've been saying all along. Braun Strowman is not the guy. He's not going to be their guy. Drew McIntyre is the guy, and Drew bores me to death. I'm not a fan of Drew McIntyre. I'm already really starting to resent him now. He bores me to tears. I don't know why people like him. He is big, okay, fine, but he is fucking boring. The guy is a snooze. He bores me to death. I do not like Drew McIntyre at all. I find him extremely boring. He bored me to death when he came back in NXT. And he bored me to death in his first run of the main roster. I just find the guy extremely boring. He's better than Jinder Mahal, obviously. I mean, he'd be a better champ than Mahal was of the 3MB guys, but I don't want to see Drew McIntyre push, but I think he's going to get this major push. You know, the way they put him over Angle, the way they put him over Joe at Survivor Series, Drew McIntyre, I think, is going to beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. I think that's where they're going. I think Braun's going to be done with Brock will be done with Braun at the Royal Rumble. I don't know how that's going to actually work because I think that's when Brock might be fighting in the UFC. He's supposed to fight in March. I think that's one of the dates that's been scheduled. So I don't know how the Royal Rumble's going to work, but it's not Brock and Braun at WrestleMania, and I think Brock's finished. Brock beats Braun, and Braun's done at the Rumble, and I think Brock, again, I think he moves on from Braun. I don't think Braun's getting the title. He's not the guy. So Braun Strowman makes this big match again with Baron Corbin makes a match, like a handicap match, when Stephanie decides to do a 3-on-3 elimination match. It's Lashley, Corbin, and McIntyre against Strowman, Balor, and Elias. So, Balor's eliminated first. After Balor, it's Elias who's eliminated, and then Strowman, Drew McIntyre beats down Braun Strowman with the chair, so Drew's again protected. And then they all beat him down with chairs and ends up a no contest. And then what happens is Lashley and McIntyre beat down Strowman. Baron Corbin grabs steps, he smashes it into Braun Strowman's arm, so that injures Strowman. So they take out Strowman. They're doing an injury angle. Boring. Sucks seeing Baron Corbin get pushed. Baron Corbin's the one guy I wish they'd just really get rid of. Rollins came out. He talks about Rollins again. He's really cooled down a lot. I really feel Seth Rollins. Seth back in the summer was like the hottest act in the whole company, basically. Now it's like he's nothing. I mean, he's lost all the momentum. Seth has so much star potential back to summer now. This feud with Dean's a flop, and things just aren't looking good for him right now. They show Ambrose on the Titantron, and Jesus, I mean, I can't believe what. I don't know. There's a line like at Roman Reigns. I think Dean Ambrose says, "Look at Roman. Look for what he did in the Shield." He has to answer to the man upstairs, and then Seth has to answer to him. I don't know. Jesus, man. Whatever. That's Rollins Ambrose feud is a flop in my opinion. Nothing happens. So Alexa Bliss comes on. She joins commentary. So I don't know what's going on with Alexa Bliss. I'm afraid they're going to put her at Nia Jax. It's like, I don't want Alexa to be paired at Nia. I wish Nia would just go away. Nia Jax I can't stand her. But it's not good heat, and it sucks that she's getting this major push now. It's fucking bullshit. I knew it would happen. Now, the company's going to push her as a top star. She's going to be the top female heel on Raw. She is the top heel on Raw now. Alexa's out. Ronda's still face. Who's the heels on Raw? They don't push Ruby Riott. I don't think at that level yet. She will be, but no, Nia is their top heel on Raw. She's going to be pushed heavily now, and she's I can't stand her. If there's one woman I would get rid of, it's her. I wish they'd fire her so bad. But what's going to happen is she's getting a big push out of injuring Becky Lynch. She breaks her fucking nose. This out of shape, this triggered snowflake. Nia Jax is a snowflake. You call her fat, she starts yelling at you on Twitter and saying, "You're fat shaming me, how dare you?" And then she starts playing the victim card. She is this biggest snowflake you'll ever see. I can't stand her. I can't stand her as a person. I've never met her, but she just gets on my nerves like you wouldn't imagine. I hate her, man. And the fact that she's just a Rock, it makes me hate The Rock. I hate The Rock now. Fuck The Rock. Fuck Dwayne. I hate The Rock because of Nia Jax. I fucking hate her. And it sucks. I hope the way they're having Alexa on commentary during this match with Corey Graves was Corey's kissing up to her. It's like, oh, great. They're going to put Nia with Alexa, and she's going to be her manager because she can't wrestle. So thank God, at least Nia can't hurt Alexa, because she did one time. She hurt her shoulder. And it's in the tag match at Nia and Tamina against two women Nia has hurt. Nia Jax has hurt both these women, Bayley and Sasha. Nia destroyed Bayley's shoulder last year. Remember, around SummerSlam, it was supposed to be Bayley and Alexa at SummerSlam, and then Sasha took her spot. Well, what happened was Nia Jax destroyed Bayley's shoulder. She threw her on her shoulder, and Bayley had a separated shoulder. And she also hurt Sasha Banks a couple of years ago. I think that was Nia's first injury. I never said what it was, but Sasha was out for like 2 months, or she wasn't wrestling at all. She injured Sasha, so 2 women, Nia's hurt Alexa. So 3 women are out there who Nia Jax is injured. She's injured all 3 of them. All 3 of them are very small, especially Alexa. And Sasha's pretty small too. So, I ever thought, maybe be careful with some of these girls. They're a lot smaller than you. You're fucking almost 240 pounds. Kind of be careful. Oh, no, I'm just like them. I hate Nia. She's hurt. She almost paralyzed Charlotte Flair a year and a half ago. That was probably the worst. Even worse than Becky. Charlotte could have been paralyzed. She breaks Becky's nose. Fucking cheap bullshit. She gets pushed after it. They're actually giving this fucking bitch a push. She hurts Asuka. She hurt Asuka not too seriously, but Asuka was hurt earlier this year because of Nia. That's 6. She injured Zelina Vega. Evolution gives Zelina a concussion. Poor Zelina. She's so fucking small. She's almost as small as Alexa, and she injures her. Try to be careful with her. You're throwing her over the ropes. She fucking just launches her at Tamina. It's fucking horrible. She's injured so many fucking women. So, yeah, you can count them. Becky, Charlotte, Zelina Vega, Bayley badly, Alexa Bliss, Sasha Banks. Just woman after woman. I'm missing a couple more. Asuka, she injured. 7 women. And I think she actually injured Dana Brooke. She almost hurt Dana really bad, actually. No, she didn't. But I remember it was like a triple threat. She almost hurt her really bad. But Nia is just... she's going to get fucking pushed. Oh, my God. Anyway, Nia and Tamina beat Bayley and Sasha Banks. Bayley and Sasha lose again. So they're losers. The fans didn't boo Nia as bad as last night. But they don't care as much tonight because they're kind of dead. It's not a pay-per-view crowd. But Bayley takes the pin. Yeah, so whatever. They're doing stuff with Drake Maverick being laughed at in catering. It's like, they're such a joke. They've done such a horrible job. Can the authors of pain just kill Drake and just get Paul Ellering back? Or maybe Rachel Ellering, his daughter, can manage him. Just get rid of them. So then they have an ultimate piss break. You have the Lucha Party against the Revival. Man, that was a crazy piss break. I changed the channel there. They show a recap of Ronda and Charlotte. They're hyping it up. Ronda's coming out later tonight. They're showing the stuff with Rollins in the back. Rollins looks like a complete geek. Sorry. He looks like a geek looking for Ambrose. Ronda comes out and she talks about Nia and she talks about how dangerous she is, and it's like she has to put her over. She talks about Charlotte. She wants to finish what she started with Charlotte. She doesn't mention Becky, though. She didn't mention... she mentioned Becky being injured, but she didn't mention fighting Becky. She mentioned Charlotte. I'm afraid what's going to happen. This might not happen, but I'm afraid at WrestleMania it's going to be like Ronda and Charlotte in the rematch in the main event. And it's going to be like Becky Lynch and Nia Jax. I'm afraid they're going to give Nia a big push. I fucking hate Nia. I really hope Ronda hurts her. Like, I want to see Nia get injured. Not seriously, but I hope she gets an injury. I wish they'd release her. I fucking hate that bitch. God. And Ronda's going off. She doesn't go off on the crowd, but she's talking about how her fights are, and she wants to defend her title. Then Baron Corbin comes out, and it's official. Ronda Rousey's defending her title. It's Mickie James. Ronda fights Mickie James. It was kind of a quick match. I mean, Ronda's welts are brutal. It's like, oh, fuck, man. I feel bad for her. Imagine how she felt when she had to, like, shower, and especially imagine the one behind her ear all over her head. Oh, it must, like, all that water, like, that must be fucking painful. You know, all those fucking welts on your body. Imagine cold water. Oh my god. That's fucking, must be brutal, those fucking welts. I hated that segment, man. I don't think he should have fucking had Charlotte fucking murder her with a kendo stick. I didn't like it. I know it was brutal, but I didn't need to see Ronda. She didn't have to take that. It's like, it was unnecessary for her to take all that damage. It was just, fuck, man. The shots, I don't know what's wrong with Charlotte, though. And, like, did Charlotte, I don't know if it was planned, did she have to hit her in the fucking head? Like, she hit her in the back of the head, and the fans look like the assholes for booing Ronda, but Ronda beats Mickie, and then they have Nia Jax stare down at Ronda Rousey. It's like, I remember when Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman got into like a fight at the Royal Rumble, and Braun accidentally knees Brock in the head, and then Brock Lesnar punches Braun Strowman and drops him. I so wish Nia like kicks Ronda or knees her hard, and Ronda gets pissed off and just knocks her out. Ronda would be the biggest babyface. If they want to get Ronda over again, just have her murder Nia Jax. Just fucking have her destroy her. I fucking can't stand Nia. Anyway, Chad Gable on Bobby Roode, meaningless match, uncareable. I don't care about Ambrose and Rollins. They're just doing the shit with them looking. Yeah, I don't care. I don't like how they mention Roman Reigns. Like, they have to use him for heat. It's all about heat. And Brian Alvarez from Figure 4 Online Wrestling Observer is right. All WWE cares about is heat. Heat! So they had Natalya beat Ruby Riott. It's like they were both pulled from the Survivor Series match. They were doing all this stuff. I think Natalya's going to turn on Ronda Rousey at the Royal Rumble. I think that'll be the match at the Rumble. I think Natty will turn on her, and I think Ronda will have to face her because of that. But I think Natty's going to turn heel. I think she'll beat Ruby Riott in this rivalry, and she's going to go heel against Ronda. Stuff with Rollins and Ambrose sucks. It ends with Ambrose coming in, and eventually they find each other. Ambrose lays out Rollins with dirty deeds. Segment sucked. Show sucked. Raw absolutely sucked. Meaningless show after Survivor Series. No call-ups. Last year they had a whole bunch of call-ups, I think, after Survivor Series. No call-ups. No sign of Lars Sullivan. Meaningless show. Raw was a snooze fest. 3 hour snooze fest. And, the ratings are going to be brutal because that Monday Night Football game was a classic. So, yeah, I expect horrible ratings for Raw tomorrow when we find out some terrible, terrible numbers.